All right. We're going to move on from the Bears, who are having this sensational season. We're going to talk about the New England Patriots right now. They are top of the league. Doesn't matter what side of the coin, east, west, doesn't matter what division. These New England Patriots are hot, man. What a winning streak they're on right now, a 10-game winning streak. Another quarterback in their second year. Come to think of it, all these quarterbacks are in their second year. Bo Nix, Drake May, and also the aforementioned Caleb Williams. So it's pretty wild what's going on with second-year quarterbacks right now. But, I mean, these Patriots, did we think it was going to happen this fast? They're back, and another first-year coach in-house. Now, Mike Vrabel has, spent some time in Tennessee, didn't work out, and it's a little skeptical about how he became the Patriots head coach this season. It's kind of interesting, but he is the head coach, and it is his first year in New England. But all things running, full steam ahead, Priest. What do you think is happening there in New England to make this year special?
Yeah, I think Mike Vrabel is a little bit of a different talent, in terms of being a coach, former player, had a chance to play opposite on the ball against him going into New England at different times. And so when you say a player's coach, I mean, he embodies that. You have a guy that is not too far removed, and he has an opportunity to come in as a leadership. It's a different conversation. I think it's a different relationship when you have a coach that may have been a coach all his life, haven't had an opportunity to step out on the field, maybe played at a much younger age. But for those guys that are professional players and then they retire and then they take on that coach's mantle to lead a team, I think it's a different conversation. And again, I think the relationship is probably a lot different there with Vrabel and that New England team. But his relationship with his players, when you talk about young players, I'm telling you, that energy is something different in the room. That relatability also is something that's very instant. I don't think players second guess a coach when there's that relatability, when they've been someone that is, just recently removed from the game of football, within the last 10, 12 years. Right. So it's a different conversation, and they relate a little bit different way. In terms of when it comes to injuries, you're talking about a coach that understands it. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? You need a day off. You need 2 days off. I think as Vrabel being a coach, I think he's probably a lot lenient in terms of, giving those guys breaks when they need them. And so I think they respect him, of course. And I think he's good for the game also.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And he worked his way up the ranks, right? He didn't just go right into the NFL when it came to coaching. He spent some time at Ohio State. He was a positional coach. Then he moved his way up. He just worked his way up the ladder and got a great opportunity at Tennessee, and it didn't really pan out for him there. But it just goes to show, if the instincts are there, if the coaching ability is there, it's just a matter of being in the right place, the right environment, and also timing has a big thing to do with it. And he's definitely in that position now. Well, this begs the question, Priest, because you asked about leniency. Could you read a coach pretty well that on your team, whether it was positional as a running back coach or a head coach or an assistant coach? Like, did you know what buttons you could push or what favors you could ask? And do you remember any of those moments? Maybe you sweet talked one of your coaches to get out of something, or you put out a nice excuse as to why you didn't make a meeting?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many different excuses. Like I said, I had a running back coach by James Saxon. And so to push his button, miss a block, you know what I mean, on a third down, and you definitely going to know how to push his buttons. I had coaches at different times when I was in Kansas City, when it snowed and, I tried to sometimes get out of practice. I had to say I'm guilty of that. There was one time, being from Texas, I called in, they were looking for me, and they were like, man, where the heck is Priest? He needs to be at practice, right? I had a slope in my driveway that went uphill, and it was a very steep slope, and it actually snowed. So, me being from Texas and pulling out my SUV and trying to back out of the driveway, out of the garage, I started spinning. So I said, well, I can't get up this driveway. I'm gonna go back in the house and lay down. Man, do you know what? They sent the position coach to my house. Billy Long came to my house at that time, and man, got me out of bed, picked me up, and says, man, you need to get your butt to practice, and everybody's laughing because they're saying, hey, we know you're from Texas, but rain, sleet, or snow, you better have your butt in the stadium in that practice and that meetings, and you can't blame it on the snow. So yeah, I knew how to push some of the buttons, and I also knew how to maybe get some love from the coaches, in terms of, blaming it on the snow at times.
That is amazing. What a story. So they sent staff out to come get you. Did you freak out a little bit? Like, did you know the staff was coming, or were they just like, who's knocking at the door right now? And you're in your pajamas, you open the door and you're like, oh my God.
No, it was a matter of time, Mark, before they got there. And I knew it because, I mean, you go about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and you haven't showed up to that team meeting. Now it's the position meeting, offensive and the unit meetings. They're going to start looking for you, and those phones are going to start buzzing. So definitely, I blamed it on my truck. I said, hey, I'm from Texas. I've never been able to back out of snow. I said, my truck is just spinning. It's dangerous, coach. I can't come to practice. And he says, I don't care what you are doing. You're going to be here in practice, So they definitely did. They sent Billy Long out to get me. He was our strength and conditioning coach. And we laughed, man. And the whole time he put me in his truck, man, it took me right on to the stadium and right to practice, right in the snow.
Oh. That's amazing, man. And of course, they send the strength and conditioning guy because he could physically pick you up out of bed, throw you on his back, fireman carry style, right out to his car. So no excuses. I can't walk in the snow. I can't step in the snow. He's going to throw you right in the back of his car and get you. That is an incredible story. And also hilarious, Priest. That's really funny. Yeah, I can't imagine, me being from the Cleveland area, we'd have to climb out our second floor window if we got lake effect snow 10 feet up and couldn't push our front door out. There were no snow days at school. There was no, I could also see your coaches throwing some chains on your tires too. To prevent that from happening. No more excuses for you. But that's absolutely hilarious. What a funny story. Okay, so having a coach like Vrabel where you can relate not only as a player, and he's just young enough, because we're going to talk about the difference between super young coaches and coaches that are a little bit older. But Vrabel's kind of right in that sweet spot. He's, in his 50s, low 50s. So he kind of is the bridge between the older generation and the newer generation. So look, again, it goes back to chemistry, relatability. And, the Patriots right now, let's take a look. They're the second best passing team in the NFL right now, averaging 256.5 yards per game. And Drake May has taken that step from year 1 to year 2. He's thrown for almost 3,500 yards already, 23 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions with a 72.8 QB rating. That's nice, Drake May. You know why I love Drake so much, Priest? He's on my fantasy team. But he's hurting me because he's on bye this week and the playoffs start in fantasy. What am I going to do? I got to go to my backup.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, man. What Drake May, and I think any of the younger quarterbacks, you think at Bo Nix as well. I mean, the list is long in terms of younger quarterbacks in the league in 2025. But when you look at their interceptions compared to their touchdowns, man, these kids actually, man, they're lighting it up, in terms of that balance. There's definitely a good balance in between that, and that's what's making them successful. And they're keeping that ball out of the component's hands. And, when I think of, Caleb and these younger guys that are playing football, it has to speak to your defense that just really brings even that additional confidence. Because, I mean, if you're a quarterback and my defense is going to go out there and within maybe 3 to 4 downs, we're going to be getting the ball back. That's a confidence boost as well for a younger guy that even if you might make a mistake early in the game, you still know, hey, my defense is going to bail me out and give me another opportunity at the helm and, get another first down and try to move that ball into the red zone and score a touchdown.
That's right. And something we'll talk about to wrap up this segment is when you think about these 3 teams, and we'll go into the Broncos now, they don't have traditional superstars at skill positions. Sutton being the exception for the Broncos, maybe. But if I say to you right now, name the top 3 receivers on New England. Name the top 3 receivers in Chicago.
One in particular that always grabs a lot of attention and always make the headlines if anything is going to happen, bad or good, and that's going to be Diggs.
That's right, Stephon Diggs.
So you can have Diggs on your team, and I'm gonna tell you what, everything else is going to be polarizing around that guy. And I mean, he's also playing lights out. And for someone to battle back from injury, it kind of speaks to his work ethic, and then all of the off-field antics that obviously he's been involved in, and that have also maybe even dampened his career in terms of not being a fan favorite at times. He's right back doing the things he does best. I think he's focused. He's in a different situation also on a personal level. And so I think it plays for better football. And then, of course, if you take anyone that has a tendency to, have a negative light shine behind them, or they're constantly always getting, kind of in trouble, as you say, or getting bad press. Take their butt up to New England where it's cold and it ain't much that you're going to be able to do. Flights, you're not going to be able to get out the city as fast as you want. You might get snowed in. Take their butt up there, man, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be a different player.
Breaking news from Bet365. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Sign up, place a bet for $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, player props, futures, and so much more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Hey, do you have a gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. Or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 21 plus only, 18 plus in Kentucky. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, and select parishes in Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. $10 minimum deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only.
This has been a Playmaker production.